All right, let's dive into a story that kicks off with a super cute collectible toy and spirals into absolute terror. This isn't just some old ghost story, though. It's a fascinating look at how a modern horror legend gets started and spreads like wildfire in our digital age.
I mean, really think about it. How much harm could a cute little doll actually do? You see toys like this all the time, right? Just harmless collectibles sitting on a shelf. But what if that sweet, painted-on smile was hiding something truly evil? Well, this story is going to make you ask that exact question. So, our story starts in Shanghai, with a really kind woman named Maylin. For her, working in a toy shop wasn't just a job, it was everything. She was a huge collector, and her home was basically this amazing sanctuary filled with all kinds of unique dolls she'd found. Then, one day, this super rare, limited edition shipment of Labubu dolls shows up at her shop. And somehow, Maylin snags the very last one, a special golden version. She is just instantly captivated. You know, those big blue eyes, the long ears, and that wide, toothy grin. To her, it's absolutely perfect. She can't wait to get it home and add it to her collection. She's so excited, right? The very first thing she does when she gets home is introduce the newest member of the family to her best friend in the whole world, her dog, Bao. She's totally sure he's going to love it just as much as she does. And this is where the first giant red flag pops up. Bao, who usually loves her dolls and wags his tail, has a completely different reaction to this Labubu. There's no happy wagging tail. Instead, he starts barking aggressively. He's growling with this hostility that Maylin has never, ever seen in him before. It's the very first sign that something is just terribly wrong here.
Maylin kind of brushes it off, maybe thinking he's just spooked by the new toy. But as we're about to see, the very next day, that weird feeling starts to escalate into a full-blown waking nightmare.
So the next morning, Bao is still barking like crazy at the doll, so much so that Maylin has to lock him in the bathroom just to get out the door for work. Then, at the shop, she has this sudden, completely out-of-character burst of rage at a customer and gets fired on the spot. That night, she's home and hears this strange laughter in her apartment. She eventually falls into a terrifying nightmare about a decaying red monster. But the real horror? That starts when she wakes up. The Labu doll, which she knows she left on a shelf, is now sitting right on her chest, just staring down at her. Maylin lets out a scream, and that's when Bao bursts into the room. He sees the doll on his owner and just lunges. Not at Maylin, but straight for the Labubu. He rips it, tears it, completely shreds it to pieces. Maylin, totally shaken, sweeps up all the little bits, throws them in the trash, and for just a moment, she feels this huge wave of relief. She thinks, okay, finally, it's over.
Yeah, but the nightmare was nowhere near over. The next morning, Maylin wakes up feeling just awful. Her head is pounding, she sees these weird red marks all over her skin, and there's this chilling silence in the apartment. Bao is missing. She stumbles into the bathroom and looks in the mirror. Her face is covered in those same red marks. But then, she sees it. In the reflection, standing right behind her, is the red monster from her nightmare. She whips around, nothing's there, and then her eyes drift over to the shelf, and her blood just turns to ice. The Labubu doll is back. It's perfectly put together, but its smile, it's changed. It's not cute anymore. It's this terrifying, malicious grin. She runs out of the bathroom and into the kitchen and just freezes. The doll is there again, this time sitting by the sink. And its hands and that wide, toothy smile, they're stained with something dark, wet, and very, very red. Maylin's eyes follow the red drips down from the sink to the floor. And there, lying right underneath, is the source. It's her sweet dog, Bao, viciously torn apart. The doll didn't just come back. It came back for revenge. Okay, now she gets it. She's not just dealing with a haunted doll. She's dealing with something truly evil, and she knows she has to destroy it, for good this time. Throwing it away isn't going to cut it. She has to completely erase it from existence. So she takes the doll outside, sets it on fire, and watches it burn until there is literally nothing left but a pile of ash. But she is not taking any chances. She scoops up all the ashes, seals them tight in a jar, and then throws that jar right into the middle of a river. Surely, she thinks, this has to be the end of the curse. But the next morning, Maylin is discovered dead inside her apartment, and lying right there beside her, looking pristine and smiling that terrifying grin, is the golden Labubu doll. The curse was absolutely inescapable. Now, Malin's horrifying story would be terrifying enough on its own, but here's the crazy part. It doesn't seem to be an isolated incident. In fact, her story is just the most famous piece of a really disturbing global phenomenon that's popped up around these dolls. So after Malin's story went viral, people from all over the world started sharing their own creepy experiences. There were all these claims of the dolls actually biting their owners, people suddenly losing their jobs or getting seriously sick for no reason. Some stories were even darker, sounding a lot like what happened to Malin. The panic got so bad that there were even reports of some countries banning the dolls and priests being called in to perform actual exorcisms on them. So what in the world could be behind all of this? Well, one really chilling theory suggests the Labubu doll is actually a modern-day home for an ancient evil, the demon Pazuzu. In Mesopotamian mythology, Pazuzu was this terrifying demon, a bringer of famine and plague. The belief is that this ancient, nasty force has found a new, deceptively cute disguise for the 21st century. And that really brings us to the heart of the whole legend. Is the cursed Labubu just a really well-told ghost story for the internet age? You know, a modern myth that grew out of our own anxieties? Or is there something more going on? The legend sticks around because it taps into this really deep primal fear, the idea that evil can hide behind the most innocent-looking face. And that's a thought that's pretty hard to shake long after you've heard the story.